Hello, I'm Mike Hamlar, host of the New Virginia Economy. And we welcome our guest, Chris Dovi of Code Virginia today, who is the co-founder and executive director. Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us about Code Virginia.
We are a 501c3 nonprofit, statewide in focus, and we sort of have, I guess, three focuses, three lenses, right?
Right, yeah.
We do advocacy around computer science, so we work down at the General Assembly and with policymakers to try to improve the proliferation, I guess, of computer science education in Virginia. Then we also train teachers for free in public school districts. This is such an important thing. Having computer science, again, we're trying to make this into really, I guess, the fourth leg of the education stool. Mm-hmm. So right now it's reading, writing, and arithmetic. And
we're going to add computer science to that.
Computer science to that. And that's actually the way it is now in law in Virginia.
Right, so you said that's, so let's touch on that. So this legislation, mm-hmm. What have you guys been working on in the General Assembly in Virginia, and how important is that to us?
Okay, well, it's very important.
As a parent of three children, it means
you
something
know.
to me. I want to know.
So in 2016, we went to the General Assembly actually really to try to work to try to mitigate some legislation that could have been disruptive to CS Ed and to other areas of education. What we ended up coming out with was, I don't want to call it the perfect legislation, but it was first in the nation to mandate computer science as a core subject in all schools, K through 12. This is actually sort of the I don't know, what's the city of gold, I guess, right. for a lot of people in CS education is having computer science recognized as what it is, a pillar of literacy.
Right, so essentially we're going to have that on our SOLs when our children are staying up late studying or worrying about those, right?
So this is
how is that?
This is where I turn to the camera and I say, no, they will not be tests. So how do
they integrate that into the SOLs?
Well, now, first of all, the SOLs, there are SOLs in every subject area. These are standards of learning is what they are. And this is where the state says in a history class that's not necessarily a tested history, you must cover these subject points, right? And then the school district then does that. So the computer science SOLs will be very similar, except that many of them will be, I'll call it crosswalked to other curricular areas, and this is the way that computer science is. So for instance, an example of an SOL that would be one that a student would be taking very likely in the future is right now, a Virginia SOL is repeated patterns. So repeated patterns is happy and you know it, clap your hands, right? Go. Right. No, you didn't do it.
Not this time.
So in computer science though, that standard would be a loop. And there are various types of loops, for loops, while loops, et cetera, that are how you start and stop a process in programming. And so that would become part of how we teach repeating patterns is loops.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure that we get this information on what you're doing. How much is it that somebody can make by going into the computer science field? I know you have some statistics on that.
Oh yeah. So we were working on some stats to present to the General Assembly this session. We're working on some additional legislation to sort of nail down everything in state to make sure that we're doing what we should be doing to make sure every child statewide has CS access. And so one of the things we found was those 33,000 jobs that are currently open in Virginia, unfilled computer science jobs. And by the way, it's almost 200,000 people in Virginia are in computing jobs. We're fourth in the nation in terms of number of computing jobs. So those 33,000 we haven't yet filled. If we were to fill them tomorrow, it would account for a full 22% of the current budget shortfall in the state, which last I looked was $750 million is the current budget shortfall.
If we could fill those jobs.
It would backfill 22% of that.
Wow. Well, let everybody know, how do they get in contact with you, Chris?
Well, so our website is codevirginia.org, and it's spelled out Virginia, so CODEVIRGINIA .org.
Kind of like New Virginia.
Kind of like New Virginia. You're not New VA economy. So they can get to us that way, or they can call CodeVA. We are downtown Richmond. Is our headquarters location, and that's 804-727-9817.
Wow, that's amazing. Chris, thank you so much for coming on today.
Absolutely.
And thank you to our sponsors. Again, thank Chris. And for more information, you can go to our website. And basically, folks, that's it for today. I'm Mike Hamlar, and thank you for tuning in. And remember to stay focused, remain engaged, and be encouraged, because together we are building a new Virginia economy.